Hey, so today we're doing the weekly recap of last week's throw and kind of how it played out for me this week. Last week I threw on what this week holds for me and the best attitude to maintain as far as my business in order to reach my Q1 goals. The hexagram I got was 43, resolution. And, I was talking about proclamations and kind of making these different proclamations and how that might have needed to play out for me and my company and for me and my company and for me internally. So today I want to talk about three things that kind of played out this week and how they relate. I want to start with the quote from the I-Ching book and what it means with the static hexagram. Receiving this hexagram without change indicates that whatever your inquiry, the true struggle is within. Make a verbal resolution to throw out old opinions and experiment with new ideas. Only through determined, steady, open progress can change come. So in my week, I found this to be true in a couple different ways, and I want to highlight three. The first I mentioned in the last video is the job hunt. So as part of this openness and kind of putting my ego aside, I really had to be open to going out and applying for jobs, and also the rejection that comes with that. So I did apply to jobs, and I got rejected from 2 this week. Now, it's no fun, but I was able to approach it with kind of level-headed and just maintaining that internal strength. The second is understanding my leadership of my business. So the first part of this hexagram in the I-Ching book talks about this is a time to eradicate evil forces and things that have been holding you back. I think it was Thursday this week, I started reflecting on previous I-Ching throw, and I don't want to go into it, but the result of that hexagram was 21 reform into 14 sovereignty. And the throw in that was basically, what do I need to do as a leader over the next 3 months for my business to succeed? And the 2 change lines in there, which I was reflecting on earlier this week, were really illuminating. And they talked about how, there's certain weaknesses I have and kind of how to approach those. So how this relates to hexagram 43 is talking about identifying those weaknesses and talking about how to go about addressing them and getting rid of them. So I've come up with a whole action plan for my business and things that I need to do as a leader to get rid of my weaknesses. And I've talked to my coworker about that. I've talked to some friends about that. So doing what the hexagram 43 recommends, and that's really making a public proclamation. The third proclamation I made this week is what needs to get done in my business over the next 2 weeks. And so guys, this is a to-do list, not only a to-do list, but a to-do list for one item. So the thing we're really focusing on the business right now is getting systems set up and offloading that to our VA. So without getting into all the technical jargons, basically going on, creating the systems and videos and different trainings and Excel sheets for things like inventory management or product reordering. So we made a list of, probably 30 or 40 things that need to get done in the next week, printed it out, taped it to our office wall. So the first thing we see when we walk through the door is that list. This proclamation is something that my co-founder and I came up with and is going to be instrumental in guiding us the next week. So this is kind of what this week has meant for me and how I've seen the hexagram 43 proclamation play out in my week. I've needed to adopt the idea of getting into business. I was able to do this thanks to the hexagram, the advice it gave. I was able to reflect on my weaknesses as an entrepreneur and make a proclamation about how I was going to address those and get better at it. And finally, I was able to make a proclamation about the things that needed to get done in my business and print that out and print it to the wall. And that's a pretty public proclamation. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you haven't yet, go back and rewatch my video from earlier this week talking about what I think this hexagram might mean for this week. Thanks.